Hello, fellow teachers, and welcome to another episode of Technically Something, the show where we talk about technology, creativity, tutorials, and gaming. I'm your host, Kevin Allen, and if this is your first episode, well, I'll familiarize you with what we do here. I make tutorials not only for my students, but just for anybody out there who needs a little help learning some new technology. On top of that, everybody likes video games, right? So I play those. I'm also an artist hiding as a tech guy, so I utilize technology to create artwork and do all sorts of stuff like that. Lately, I've been getting a lot of teachers asking how to stream their classes, how to record those class lectures, as well as edit videos, maybe blur out faces if they need to keep people's identities and information confidential, which is kind of important, so, you know. My grand plan with this video is to walk you through all of your options in one video. It might be, I'm hoping I can do this within 30 minutes. We'll just have to see about that. My plan is to show you how to use Audacity for your audio recording. I'll also be showing you how to do screen capture by using OBS as well as the Google Meet platform. And then in terms of those of you who need to go back and edit your videos, I'm also going to show you how to use DaVinci Resolve in just a few quick ways. But I do have, for those of you who are just starting out, like you don't even have DaVinci Resolve installed, it is an editing software for video that is 100% free. I mean, you can buy the pro version, but the free version is very robust. And you can go download that now and get it installed. I will have a link to my DaVinci Resolve for Beginners video down below in the description so that you can go and start there. And it walks you through getting it installed, setting up a disk drive for all of your videos to be saved, and even some tips and tricks on how to edit your video starting right out. What I'll be going over in here is how to blur out faces or hide information, or even just crop and change the image. So we'll be going over that kind of stuff. Finally, at the very end, once the file is saved, I'm going to show you how to post it to YouTube. Now, if you happen to be part of a school that uses G Suite or Google Suite, you shouldn't have any issues with this. You should automatically have a YouTube channel because every Gmail comes with a YouTube account. So you could actually just go to YouTube and start adding videos right away. But there are a few things that can be confusing to someone who's never uploaded before. A few things that maybe it's like, I don't know if I should check this box or not. Well, what's going on? And that's what I'm here for. That's how I'm gonna help you. So anyway, let's not waste any more time. We're gonna jump straight into it. I'll see you in 1 sec. All right, first things first, I'm going to show you my physical setup so that if you want to be a little extra, no, I'm not saying that I'm extra, I know it. But seriously, a lot of people will always have questions about what kind of mic do I use, do I need a webcam, should I get lights and things like that. You can go as far as you want. I'm not here to judge, I'm just here to inform and let you know what your options are. I use a Blue Yeti microphone. This is kind of a middle to high-end mic if you really care about sound quality, so any music teachers, or even if you are in a position where sound is important, this is a great mic. Also, attached to it, you will see that I have an arm. This is great for being able to position your mic and move it on the go. That was a wonderful sound. This way, you can place it on the go wherever you need. Next, I have a simple Logitech webcam. To be honest with you, I hadn't used this for quite a little bit. I even had a webcam that was older than this, but that thing kind of pooped out on me. So I've been using this instead for just better than low quality recording, but still not like super high end. And these generally go, I think I got this for about $50. You can actually find these on Amazon. They're called Closet Lights, but more specifically, the brand that I got was Alpha Home. And they are touch lights, so I can touch the end and switch it between white light, cool, warm, and then I can hold to increase intensity or hold again to decrease. I use a laptop, but even if you use a desktop computer, the next part that comes into play is the computer itself. So all of the tools I'm about to go over will only work on a PC or an Apple computer. If you have a webbook that you're using, your options will probably be limited to YouTube streaming and the Google Meet recording options, but still, I'm going to go over those anyway. Also, it is important to note that every single edit I'm about to make is going to be eventually done through DaVinci Resolve. So when you see my picture that we're looking at right now as I shrink, perfect! That was done with DaVinci Resolve. Let's look on the screen. So what I have going on here are a couple things. And by the way, you don't need a fancy mic to run any of this stuff. You don't need a fancy computer. You don't need a fancy camera for that matter. As long as you have a camera that you can use to record, a microphone in your computer, even if it's built in, it's gonna work just fine. First up, we have Audacity. And this is a free software that allows you to simply record what you are saying. So if we look close at the sound waves that are being produced right now, I'm just gonna make a click. And it gives you a live presentation of your recording. This can help you gauge whether or not you're clipping or not. So if I were to turn the gain up and talk like this, suddenly you see that your sound waves are clipping way through the roof. You want to try and keep them right about here where they're in the middle, taking up about 1/3 to 1/4 of the space. Next, on the right, I have OBS running. And OBS is a screen capture software that literally just captures whatever is happening on your screen, and that's why I'm using a camera separately. I'm actually going to be recording this from a camera, save the files, and then put them into DaVinci Resolve later. We aren't going to get ahead of ourselves. Now, OBS is great because you install it and you will simply add a source down here, and when you add that source, you can say display capture. And it says display capture 2 because I already have a display capture. But make this source available, click OK. And in here, it's going to ask you which display you want to use. Now again, I'm only using a laptop, so I have one display. But if you're using several monitors, then this is where you can choose which monitor you want to record. Once you've selected that, you can also check Capture Cursor. So with it checked, on the preview up here, you can see my mouse going around in a circle. If I uncheck it, suddenly my mouse is gone. So that depends on whether or not you want to capture your mouse pointer. Once you're finished, you click OK. And then you can say that you want to record from display capture 2 and hit start recording. Now, this is where start recording would be, but I've already begun that. So now it says stop recording. And I'll show you what we can do with capturing and then saving the files later on with that. So those are the first two tools. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is using Google Meet. All you have to do, as long as you have a G Suite that has Google Meet active, you type in meet.google.com. It'll take you to a web page that looks similar to this, okay? It may have been updated, or you might have seen a tutorial that looks old compared to this. But either way, all you have to do is click join or start meeting. From here, you can name this whatever you want, but I would avoid periods, dashes, any other characters than just letters. So I'm gonna call this recording hangout. And once you join, gives you the name right here, and you'll notice that I'm showing up on the screen because that is the webcam that I showed you earlier. And this is hanging out on top of my computer. So I can just click join now. And here is the joining information. I just want to add a person. So I'm going to add a student. Invitation has been sent. We'll see if he answers. I'm going to put on my headphones so I can actually hear him. All right, guys, so I just transitioned over to having a Google Meet. This is active currently right now, and I have a student. Say hi, student.
Hello.
See, they said hello. They're a real person, right?
Yes.
Totally not a robot. Now, the options that we have here, if I go up, and this should be active as of today for any of my fellow teachers. If you don't teach where I teach, then just completely disregard any of the things I'm saying where it's like, you should know this. But as of this morning, the recording option should be available as soon as you start a meeting. So all I'm going to do is click record meeting, and it's going to ask for consent. This is important, especially because you are a teacher. So if you have students on there, let them know that you are recording. But either way, if you have to record it and they aren't okay with it, then they can't be there. It's one or the other. You can't record or they can't be there. So I'm going to hit accept. Oh wait, God, I'm sorry. Student, is it okay if I record you?
I grant you permission to record me.
Oh, look at that. So I hit accept. Recording will start soon. And up here in the left corner, you see it thinking. And what a beautiful little chime. So when you see this recording, that means it's recording. I know, it's crazy. Currently, I have one student present. Now, if you had several, they would all show up on the right side. But if I were to present, you can just say your entire screen. So I will click on the screen, select share, and now on the student's end, they will see my entire screen. So if I were to minimize, they can actually see my desktop, they can see everything I'm doing. But just to confirm, is that right, student?
That is correct. I see your screen on the side.
Beautiful. You need to be extra careful if you have your emails open, if you have anything like that that has confidential information or things that you don't want students to see. Be very aware of what windows you left open and what you're clicking into. And then when I'm finished, I can stop presenting if I want to close out the discussion and speak to my students before I'm finished. When I am done though, I can go to stop recording, and I will give you one guess as to what that does. Student, what do you think it does?
Can you repeat the question?
If I click stop recording, what do you think happens?
I believe the recording will stop.
I teach the best. Nothing but the best. Nothing but the best. So if I click stop recording, it says, stop recording this meeting. The recording will be saved in your Google Drive. The first time I did this, I kind of expected it to immediately go to my Google Drive. And that was not the case. And you'll see here, stop recording is grayed out, and it even says recording up here in the corner, okay? Student, on your end, does it show the same thing?
There was a recording sign, but now there's no longer a recording sign.
As soon as we heard that little ding, it disappeared, right?
Yes.
Perfect timing. So once it's disappeared, the record meeting option comes up again, so you could record another session. Now, one thing I will say that I haven't been able to try out yet is that this may change depending on the length of your recording. So if you have a 50-minute to an hour-long lecture, and suddenly you hit stop recording, that video has to process through Google servers and be saved to your drive. So that could actually take quite some time before it's ready to record again. I'm not 100% sure, but just keep an eye on that. And if it takes a couple minutes longer than you anticipate, it's probably because your video is long and it's processing. Now, this entire time, I have also been recording the student, as you can see, and some of you have been asking, okay, if I record a lecture, how can I blur out their faces? Well, I've already been doing that. By now, you're seeing the edited version from DaVinci Resolve, and I'm actually going to show you how I did that in just a moment. So sit tight and you will see. All right, so that is how we use Google Meet to record a meeting, a lecture, while recording our screen or recording ourselves. This entire time I have been using OBS to record my screen. But when you're finished recording your screen through OBS, if this is the option you decide to use, I want to show you how you save those files so that you can edit them later. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is go to stop recording, click it, and it seems like it's done. Like, that's it. But what you have to do is go to File, and here you will see Remux Recordings, and that's not a typo, but you're going to go to Remux Recordings, then you get this new window. Here it's going to say the OBS recording file. So what we have to do is click this blank spot first, then these three dots, and it's going to take you where all of your recording files go once they're done recording. So OBS saves, I think by default, it saves to this PC in your videos folder. The next thing you have to do is look for the capture that has today's date. So I know that it's going to be this one here. So I'm going to take that file, open it, and now it's showing OBS recording. Then it says target file. So if you want to save the MP4 version, which is the version that you can edit or show people, if you want that to save to your videos folder, it will do that automatically. But if you want to save it somewhere else, you click here, hit the three dots, then you can choose where you want it to go. So once you're finished with all of this, most important part, you're going to hit Remux. And it will say recording Remuxed. That means that it is now saved in that folder. So we can close out of all of this stuff. It's also important to note that I don't record audio through OBS, just because it doesn't sound quite right to me. So this is why I use Audacity separately. So don't forget to stop recording your audio here. I'm going to leave this recording for now because, well, I'm still talking to you. All right, now that we've gotten all of that stuff out of the way, we have our recording set, we're good to go into DaVinci Resolve. So you'll have to go to your Google Drive, make sure it's under the same account that you were in the Google Meet with. And all you have to do when you're in Drive is go to Recent, and it'll be the top video file here. It'll be a bunch of gibberish because that's how Google has to name their stuff in order for it to work. All you have to do is download this and then save it to a spot on your computer where you can access it later. So now I'm going to open DaVinci Resolve. Again, I have a DaVinci Resolve for Beginners video that shows you how to download, install, and get DaVinci Resolve set up, as well as a few simple editing tips and tricks. So I'm not going to go over that stuff again in this video. I'm just going to simply show you the new tricks on how to cut out students or even blur students if you'd rather do that. I'll show you both options. So we're going to double click it to open it. It does take a moment to open, so just be patient. Alright, once we're in here, as you can see, I have many other projects, but I'm going to just create an untitled project, a brand new one. Then we get into our workspace. First thing we have to do is go here to our media pool. I'm going to open the folder that has all of the stuff I've been saving so far, but I'm not going to worry about all of the stuff I'm making for your tutorial video. I'm just going to show you how to edit on the student. So I'm going to drag and drop this into Resolve. It'll say the clip or clips has different frame rates, and if I want to change it to the project settings, I just say change. Now we have our video file, so I will go to the editing tab, and now we can drag the file down into our timeline. And as I scrub through this, you'll see there are portions where the student shows up. And you can make sure that everything is there at the start. So what I'm going to do is fast forward and grab my scrubber until I get to the part where a student's face shows up.
So, when you see this
It's right here. Now, when you get close enough, you can use the arrow keys to go left or right on the timeline. I'm going to go left and progress forward just a few points. Right there. Once you've found the part in your video that has the student's face, you will click the Blade Edit mode or hit B on your keyboard, and then just click right here on the timeline. Now we can go forward until the frame right after the student's face is shown, and then hit the blade icon again on that red line. With this portion separated, we can use the mouse, select the section that has the student, and then you can go to your Open Effects, select Gaussian Blur, click and drag it, and then drop it on the video portion, right up here. When that happens, you can go to the Open Effects tab on the right. If this isn't showing, if it just looks like this, click Inspector, select Open Effects, and now you have horizontal and vertical strength for a blur, and if you move one, the other should move with it. If I grab the scrubber and move it to the center of this part that we clipped out, you can now see I can make it crazy blurry, like so blurry you can barely tell what's happening, or just a little blurry, or barely blurry at all. It's up to you how much you want to do. I'd say go as blurry as you can, because that's the point, right? Now when we play back, when you see this recording, it shows that section but blurred. Unfortunately, with Google Meet, the layout is dynamic, so whoever is speaking will show up in this space to the right. So keep that in mind. If you want to have portions where you are talking, you're going to have to cover up those sections as well, because as we see, if I scrub forward, I actually asked the student a question.
But just to confirm, is that right, student?
That is correct. I see your screen on the side.
Confirm, is that right, student?
That is correct. I see your screen on the side.
What we can do to avoid having this happen is actually change the size of your clip. Select this video clip, go up to the inspector, and here we have zoom. So if I click and drag this to the right, you'll see the overall picture gets bigger. And then I can actually scoot the entire picture using the position and moving the X position over until my picture is basically out of the way. And now as it plays,
They can actually see my desktop, they can see everything.
We don't have to worry about that picture showing up anymore. And this is why I gave you the option of OBS. And there's also Screencast-O-Matic, which basically works the same way as OBS. It's just that it leaves a watermark and gives you a certain time limit on how much you can record. I believe it's 15 minutes for free. There is a pro version that gives you unlimited time. Let's say that I'm finished with this video. What I have to do now is go down to the Deliver tab, which looks like this rocket ship. Click it. Name this Browse. And I'm going to go to the same area where all of my other stuff is saved. Next, if you scroll down, I think by default it should say Format QuickTime. If you look at the other options here, there are quite a few. QuickTime for me works the best, but if I were to choose something else, I would choose MP4 just to keep it simple. And all this other stuff you don't necessarily need to worry about. But we're going to add to the render queue. It'll show up over here. We hit Start Render. Just depending on your computer, this process could take a long time or it could take no time at all. It just really depends on your computer. Phew. Okay, lots of stuff. Trust me, I'm trying to juggle all this stuff right now too, so that's a lot of options. Regardless of whichever option you choose or whatever you decide to do, last thing that we can go over is uploading your videos to YouTube. While you're signed in, if you click the waffle icon, inside Google Chrome, you'll see everything right here, all of your normal tools. We're going to go to YouTube. Alternatively, you could just type youtube.com. It's up to you. When we're here, at the very top, you're going to see the picture of your icon, notifications, the waffle, and this guy. This is what's important. Create a video and more. Let's click that. And the options that come down will be upload a video, go live. Now, I'm not going to be jumping into explaining how it works to go live on YouTube, just because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just like the screen capture that we did for Google Meet, only through YouTube. So we're going to upload the video. After clicking upload video, you will see this. It's very simple. You just select the file. So I'm going to go back to that folder where I had it saved. And then I'm going to select the finished file. I can open that. And it's automatically going to start uploading. Same rule applies here, folks. If you're uploading a short video that is 7 minutes long, it's going to upload in no time. I'm already at about 10% and I have pretty average internet. But you can name this whatever you want. So I'll call this how to blur student faces. Leave it at that. You can have a description to tell your students whatever this is. You could also choose a thumbnail that you designed yourself, or YouTube will generate thumbnails for you automatically. It'll just choose one based on the video. You can also select a playlist. If you don't have a playlist, it will allow you to create one. Now, here's the thing that is important. In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, YouTube has to ask you if the video that you're making is specifically aimed at a children audience, or if it's made for kids. Now, as teachers, you might think, well, yes, I made this for my students, and my students are kids. However, it's not specifically targeted to kids the way Sesame Street might be. So what I always do is say, no, it's not made for kids. In this case, it's made specifically for education. So whether you're high school, elementary, middle school, doesn't matter. What I always do is just say, no, it's not made for kids. Next, you can select the language. I choose English, United States. Caption, this content has never aired on television in the US. Recording date, not important, but I'll just say it was recorded today. Standard YouTube license, allow embedding, blah, blah, blah. This is a key element. Make sure that your category is set for education. If you have it set to entertainment, gaming, comedy, blogs, any of these other ones, whether it's in a classroom setting, whether this is a classroom setting at school, or if they're at home and their parents may have certain parental controls saying that they can't watch anything on YouTube that falls under a category of gaming or entertainment, education normally has the green light. Finally, if you don't want people commenting, you can always say disable comments, or you can hold all comments for review, or leave it up to YouTube to hold potentially inappropriate comments for review. I've tried all of them. The potentially inappropriate comments, it doesn't really work. It's looking for curse words, it's looking for any offensive language, but it's not looking for sarcasm. So what I normally do is hold all comments for review, but if you don't even want to deal with it, just disable comments. Okay, the next important thing is going to be visibility. This is important. We don't necessarily want this to be public, okay? Especially if it's for your class. If this is actually set up and designed for your job as a teacher, you have to be very careful on how you choose to display this. If it's public, this means that anybody in the world can see it, including your students, and that's why you would want to blur them out, because we can't be showing their identities or anything like that. So setting it to public is one thing, but you can also set it to unlisted. This is what I do for a lot of more private videos that I don't necessarily want the public to see, because anyone with the video link can see your video. And as you can see, this is already finished processing, so once I save it, I get the video link right here in the bottom. So I can copy this link, and then I can paste it into my classroom stream. I can paste it into a Google Doc assignment for other students to watch. But either way, at that point, the video is now on your YouTube channel. And say you're finished with the video, you don't need it, like me. You can check the video, go to More Actions, and delete forever. Anyway, folks, there you have it. That is a crash course on several tools and ways that you can use videos, video editing, going live, recording content, and all sorts of stuff. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any other questions, please reach out. You can even comment on this video or shoot me an email. But either way, I'm Kevin Allen, and this was Technically Something. See you soon.